Hi everyone, we're doing this meeting for a purpose. And the idea is Deep Thought has a certain selection process and a lot of people have been confused about the selection process. So we thought we'll make a video so that people understand what is Deep Thought and understand what is a Deep Thought selection process. But we thought if I do a meeting where we discuss about who's a student unicorn and what does that mean, what are the processes you guys are going through here and how do you leverage the processes for your career growth? It serves two purposes. One is it helps you understand how you can go ahead in this ecosystem. Second, somebody who's applying would actually watch this as a part of round 3. You guys did a different video as a part of your round 3, right? So this video will actually be watched by other people. So, and probably they'll be giggling when they hear this because they're going to hear this, right? That you're going to watch this and so on. So now let me just give you a little history of how all of this selection process evolved. In the year 2014, I finished my college and I was launching my startup full time and I wanted to hire. I went to a HR expert and asked a HR expert, how do I hire? And he said, don't interview people because people will be fake. Everybody will try to impress you. Instead, offer them a cup of coffee and ask them what they want to do. And then you'll understand whether what they want to do is aligned with what your startup is. And that's how you can hire well. And one other HR gave me a beautiful idea. I said, give them a task. So what I would do to anybody who would apply to me is go to my website, read whatever you want to read and give me a one-pager of why you want to join. And that's how I would hire. But then I realized even this way, there were a lot of people who would be disappointed, after joining, after 10 days, they would be disappointed whether did I really choose the right opportunity? Because startups are super chaotic. And 2014, people are not that mature to understand what startups are. So then I said, whenever someone would join, I would say, hey, why don't you hang out with me for a week? And at the end of 1 week, we both can have a discussion on whether you want to have a career over here or not. And it worked out really well because people in 1 week would understand. They would help me out while at that time I was running an activity center working with school children and so on. So they would understand what is the work we do with school kids, because a lot of people would join because they hated the alternatives, but not because they liked, Deep Thought. And that doesn't work, right? You don't go to a startup because you hate a corporate. You go to a startup because you like a startup. So then we realized the selection process was working out. Then we would have an observation process. And then we kept some assignments as well in between, because that way people got a taste of, okay, what kind of work would I do if I'm hired for this role? So that was your round 2. Your round 4 observation was there. So then the question is, how did round 3 come in and how did round 1 come in, right? So round 2 and round 4 was always there. Round 3 came in because a lot of people would do the assignment, but they were not aligned. And we thought that even having them in the observation process is not adding value to them. Even if we have them in the observation process, they were wasting their time. So that's when what we did is we recorded an entire video describing what is the ecosystem and asked them to watch that video and give us a write-up. And we would read every write-up and select who comes to observation, who doesn't come to observation, so that we conserve our time. But back then, that video was more about what is Deep Thought, what is Deep Thought doing with school children. You'll see a video called DT Associate Responsibility, in one of the videos, you must have seen that video. So, but then that was more Deep Thought specific. It was not, now Deep Thought is a lot beyond Deep Thought itself, right? We hire for Knit Finance, we hire for Rollet Foods, we hire for Vishkarma, we hire for Kringle.ai, we hire for multiple companies where we identify young individuals who are capable of handling these projects and, who can execute this project. So now we are changing this video, and this is the video which we're creating for the larger concept of DT ecosystem itself. But we came up with this round 3 because we thought through this video, a youngster gets to understand what he or she is signing up for. And before you invest time on observation process, you know whether you want to be a part of this ecosystem or not. And why did round 1 come in? So we thought, look, we were making great hires. But then we thought, are we being very, elitist, right? That only the smart people were being hired. But, the 10th value of Deep Thought is inclusion and diversity, which for us is a very important value, that we don't just hire people who are smart, but we also hire people who want to work hard, who want to learn and grow, but may not have got the right mentorship till today. So, but those people were not able to complete the assignment. And they probably assume that I'll never get hired and, mentally break down and leave the assignment and run away. So that's when we gave this persona form, which is a lot easier thing to do. And once you do that, you'll end up in a WhatsApp group. And the moment you know there's somebody who's actually listening to you on the WhatsApp group, you get that confidence to go and attempt that assignment, or maybe ask 1 or 2 doubts and complete that assignment. That's how we added this persona form. And we have multiple persona forms in case you guys want to check out. So there's one form which almost acts like therapy on people, 10 questions which we ask. We used to have it last year in October. So this is how we evolved this kind of selection process. Now that you guys, most of you are through the selection process and you're here, what does it mean for you? What does it mean for you is like, you are in a ecosystem where people are handpicked, and people are handpicked not for their smartness. Of course, smartness is important. Most people here in this ecosystem are smart, and some pick up that smartness over a period of time. But people are handpicked for their value system. In the final interview stage, at least in Deep Thought, we do that. That is, we evaluate whether this person genuinely wants to do something for the society or not. And usually people have the patience to sit for that 3 entire days for 4 hours from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, only if they connect with the cause. The ones who just badly want some job would not sit from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock every day. And how do I know if someone sat from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock in observation? Simple, right? I read that reflection. You understand whether it's written for the sake of writing or it's written out of interest and out of genuine observation. So these are people who are picked for the value system, someone who genuinely wants to contribute. Now, what happens when you're surrounded by good human beings with a good value system? If at all you're working on a problem and you're stuck somewhere, you can always go to somebody and you can get some help, right? And in general, we tend to not speak much because a lot of people get bullied. School, college, a lot of people who get bullied, or even sometimes sarcasm is used in a very toxic manner. But at Deep Thought, I'm sure you would have seen that people even use sarcasm a little carefully, because we understand that sarcasm can also hurt if not used properly. Exactly, you're the average of the 5 people you spend time with, and here you have a lot of nice and smart people. The company, a lot of nice and smart people, and you see that when you come into observation, right? That you go into any room, and even if people are working on a project and they're like, don't disturb me, there's a very polite way of saying, okay, please go away, go to some other room. So there's a very polite way of stating that, right? So that's again a part of the DT ecosystem in terms of how we want to behave, right? How we want to set standards for ourselves, right? That, you want more people to be associated with you, isn't it? That's when you have a strong network. That's when you have the ability to create more value, because you have a bigger network. Like, I'm saying this out of personal experience, that a lot of times when I needed some help, I go into like 20 WhatsApp groups and I leave a message, and like some 15-20 people message back saying, Tarun, I've got a reference. There's one of my friend who works there. I've already put in a word. You can take my reference and talk. So you get that support from a network only when you nurture people, right? When you help people. So in the Deep Thought ecosystem, we've done that. So, and these are the perks of working in an ecosystem where I think everyone is handpicked. Now, coming to the other aspect of why we have this selection process. Now, there's one thing, there's one enemy of Deep Thought. There's one enemy of Deep Thought. The enemy of Deep Thought is indifference. Indifference. What do I mean by indifference? Now, let us say Gaurav comes up with an idea, or Rohit comes up with an idea, or Saurav comes up with an idea. You go and share that idea. In the Deep Thought ecosystem, there are always a few people who are willing to celebrate that idea with Saurav or Gaurav or Rohit. When you work in a community where people are not self-centered, but where people are willing to celebrate with you, where people are excited by ideas, you get a lot of energy from that, right? So many ideas die because of self-doubt. So many ideas die because of judgment. But when we're in an ecosystem where people are excited with learning, when people are excited to do something new, ideas take off. One of the biggest things you need to grow as an innovator is that emotional support, right? Because you try 100 ideas, 90 of them fail. And when your chips are down, you need somebody to say, Rehne do. One day, the next day will be your day. It's okay if 7 days didn't go your way, but the 8th day might go your way. You need someone to, pat you on the back and say, that's okay, you'll bounce back. So that indifference is a big enemy to deep thought. You go into a room and you share an idea and nobody's excited about that idea. Do you feel like communicating? And that's the experience in a usual school or a college, right? There's usually that 5% or 10% who wants to try ideas. But you come into deep thought and you pitch and you think you're weird, but you see 10 other weird people who come and say, chalo karte, let's do this. And in the LDI, you experience that energy, right? And we've doubled that energy in LDI now. Once upon a time in LDIs, I think, after 5 minutes of encouragement, 15 hands would go up. Now in 10 seconds, 40 hands are going up, and we rather have to stop people from pitching, where everyone is actively participating, and that encourages more and more people to participate. So we have this for all the folks who are in observation, we have this a drill called LDI, Leadership Development Initiative. It happens from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock on Wednesday. So tomorrow you guys would get to, see that, where, okay, Yosha was stopped from pitching. Okay, you can pitch tomorrow. Right? The people who are hired are the ones who are, encouraged to pitch there as a format. So tomorrow you can definitely go ahead and pitch. So okay, Shabarish is, I think, excited about pitching. He's nodding very actively. So yeah. And this is the energy which powers deep thought, right? Some of the old people sometimes become, we all become like uncles and aunties. Ki, chalo, energy is low. But the new people who come in, keep the adrenaline levels very high, right? Like Yosha, Shabarish are like pumped up now, right? So now seeing this, Amrit is like, how dare you call me that? Even I am energetic. So that's the energy which keeps deep thought ecosystem going. Because innovation needs you to crush all the negative energies and keep going ahead. Because you run a lot of micro experiments. Some go your way, some don't go your way. So LDI is, I think, one interesting energy exchange. Then we have another program, which is the Socratic Dialogue, where we pick a business topic and we go from the root level and we question it and we try to understand the topic from the fundamentals. Everyone uses the word fundamentals without understanding what that means. And I think Socratic Dialogue is a great way. I mean, in case you guys have not seen a Socratic Dialogue, on Deep Science Session Media YouTube channel, there's a playlist called Socratic Dialogue. There you'll get the playlist of all Socratic dialogues which have happened so far. Last Saturday, we had a Socratic dialogue on digital transformation. This Saturday, we are having a Socratic dialogue on brand positioning. After that, we are having a Socratic dialogue on design thinking. Then again, we are having a Socratic dialogue on finance. Now, a software developer might ask me, why should I learn finance? I'm a software developer. My question is, I didn't know that you were a software developer. I thought you were a human being. Or someone says, I'm a data scientist. Why are you teaching me brand positioning? Again, I'm like, I didn't know that you're a data scientist. I thought you were a human being. Now, the reason why I say this is, when you grow in your career, right? When you grow in your career, beyond a point, the breadth matters more than depth. That exposure that you have matters a lot, because you can't just say, hey, I understand only software. I don't understand business. Because if you are the lead of if you're a delivery lead, right? You talk to the client, you understand the client's requirements, right? You jot it down, you make your wireframes, you sit with your product managers, you make sure that, the business outcomes are what are shaping the wireframes. And then you drill it into your developers. You make sure your developers internalize the whole thing. Now you might ask, why should a developer understand it? Well, in the companies which produce A1 quality donkeys, India is known to produce A1 quality donkeys, right? Our education system and our corporates also produce A1 quality donkeys. So over there, yeah, people are not expected to know. But in an innovation company, every individual is making decisions for the product. In the innovation company, every individual is making decisions for the product. So it is very important that you drill it to your people. So tomorrow, if Yosha is a delivery leader and Yosha has a team of, say, 30 people of, 10 different specializations, it will be your job to drill that philosophy into those 30 people of 10 different specializations. You will have to take examples from software. You'll have to take examples from content. You'll have to take examples from data. If all your examples are of software, the content people will be fuming, like how I'm sure some of them are fuming right now. Ki, Tarun, all your examples are from software only. Why are you not giving examples of content? So now you'll have to talk about, okay, this is how our content has to be. Our content has to embody these values. Our content has to bring in these emotions. You've got to talk that in the meeting. Then you talk only content, the software developer is caught napping. Then you probably have to crack a joke and make sure that fellow comes back and pays attention. You've got to hone this art if you want to grow to that higher level, right? Because you've got to carry everyone together. Now, a lot of people, unfortunately for a lot of people, what happens is they do very well. They become rock star contributors. I'm sure many of you are super competitive, which is why you're here. Are you competitive? Do you try to bring the best version of yourself? Are you? Are you competitive?
Yes.
You guys can unmute and answer.
Yes.
Yes, Tarun.
Yes, bhaiya.
Yes.
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 We are competitors.
There's a lot of happiness in the yes. You earned it, right? So you worked a lot on yourself to be competitive. But unfortunately, what happens is many competitive people become arrogant, become egoistic. Now, if you talk to many of the arrogant or egoistic people, the root is inferiority complex. Somewhere you feel the other person is not respecting you. That is when the ego and the other things come out. So this is where investment in psychology, investment in mindsets becomes important. Now, the other aspect is as you grow in your career, so many people become rockstar individual contributors, but they don't understand other business functions. So they're unable to grow beyond a point in the career. Here, I would like to introduce you to the DT, structure of career progression. Level 0 is you're an intern. Level 1, you're an associate. That is, you're able to create value in your project. You're no longer waiting for spoon feeding from someone. What is level 0?
Intern.
Level 1?
Intern.
Associate. Second
Associate.
level associate.
Associate. And level 2, you're probably a project lead. That is, you can help other people how to do their work. But who explains you your project? One level above, project manager. If you're stuck, the manager helps you. The project lead is not autonomous. Largely, the project manager is sort of, helping, and project manager handles multiple projects. But who decides the project? One level above. Most people in their career, they go only till manager level and retire. Or there are a lot of people where probably in the entire family, nobody has gone beyond manager level, so that exposure isn't there. I'm not trying to judge anyone. I'm trying to say that unfortunately, we don't get that exposure of the level above manager. Because if someone is working at one level above the manager, you're looking at what are the various things which are happening in the world. What is happening in Ukraine right now? What is happening in Norway right now? What is happening in US right now? People who are one level above the manager are interested in different developments across the world, because you understand that through that you understand the economy, and by understanding the economy, you make decisions for your business. And people who go one level above a manager learn to make decisions, because even a manager makes some decisions, but not as much as a vice president. So deep thought has, multiple levels. The left side level is, what is the level 0?
Intern.
Level 0 is the intern.
Intern.
Level 1,
Associate.
Associate.
level 2,
Project lead.
Project lead.
level 3.
Project manager.
Now, all these people are in a way followers. Now here at level 4 is a vice president. Now the vice president understands the strategy of the company and makes a decision as per the strategy. Let me give you an example. Let us say you're running a restaurant, right? Now the vice president might understand that in this particular area, Chinese is, in this particular region. Okay, wait, let me give you a more realistic example. Let us say you're running a biscuits company, right? And you go to Kolkata, and in Kolkata, vanilla sells more than chocolate, which is an anomaly compared to the rest of the country. Am I right, Bengali people here?
Yeah.
So, vanilla, one of my mentors gave me this example. He comes from Kolkata, Mr. Joydeep. He's currently heading Economic Times for north and eastern part of India. So he gave me this example that in Kolkata, vanilla sells more. So as a strategy, you think of your advertisements around vanilla. Your production is around vanilla. Your supply chain, right? And whatever inventory you maintain in stores is around vanilla. Your communication, your operations, your marketing, all of it is around vanilla. Now this agenda is set by a VP. Now what does a manager do? The operations manager goes to all the shops and says, "Chalo vanilla laga lo har jagah." What does a creatives manager do? Chalo, I want creatives around vanilla. Wo chocolate hata do. Hyderabad mein chocolate hai. Remove that chocolate from Hyderabad and put vanilla here. So the creatives are redesigned as per these objectives which are given by the vice president. Right. Now, let's go one level above the vice president is a CXO. That is a chief marketing officer or chief technology officer or chief finance officer, chief product officer, chief revenue officer, chief data officer, chief privacy officer, chief security officer. There are so many that way, right? The CXO. What does the CXO do? The CXO takes the complete responsibility for the organization. Now, one advantage of you working for a startup is you almost get a CXO experience, because you can think of that particular function for the company and decide how that company can do well in that particular function. Anything in marketing goes wrong in a company, the CMO is blamed. Anything in growth, how you acquire users quickly, how you generate revenue quickly, the chief growth officer takes the responsibility. Now, companies need CXOs because the CEO doesn't understand all the functions, or the CEO would not get the time to take care of all the functions. And in some companies, the CXOs are equal to the CEO. The CEO and the CXO together report to the board of directors. So CXOs are the people who know that their domain really, really well, and they understand the business as well. So if you're a CTO, you don't just understand technology, you understand finance, you understand legal, you understand admin, you understand compliances, you understand creatives, you understand different things. Because if you're a CTO, suddenly the creatives team calls you and says, we want technology support for achieving this. How do we do it? You might be asked to make a web application or something which will do that. Or you're a CFO, suddenly the technology team comes and asks, we have this problem, what do we do? You're supposed to think of the resource allocation for technology, right? So when you're a CXO, you don't just understand your own function, you understand the other functions as well, because if somebody in the marketing team needs some help from technology, they go to the CTO and the CTO talks to the CMO and gets the thing done, usually. Because the CXOs are the ones who are very good at thinking in a cross-functional way. The VPs may be good at it, but they're not there yet. So the CXOs take the functional responsibility. One level above that is the CEO, who takes the complete responsibility of a company, right? Raising funds, hiring the right people, reviewing the people, making sure the milestones are met is the responsibility of the CEO. One level above the CEO is the board. Trust me, CEOs are scared of the board. And I'll tell you why. Who owns a company? The shareholders, the people who buy the shares of the company own the company, right? Like how we as the people own the country. We as citizens who vote, we own the country. And we all have one vote, right? Like that, everyone who holds one share gets one vote. I mean, again, there are different kinds of shares, but yeah, there are some shares which come with voting rights. So people get that. Now, all the shareholders, they appoint the board of directors. The shareholders appoint the board of directors, because every shareholder can't run the company, right? You have 1 lakh shareholders, 1 lakh people together can't sit and do voting to decide what the company should be doing. So they appoint a board of directors. Now, the board of directors work in the interest of the shareholders. If the board of directors are not doing a good job, the shareholders together vote and decide that we do not want this board of directors. They can remove the board of directors. So the board of directors review the CEO and make sure the CEO and the CXOs are working as per the interests of the company. So now, if you are to be elected to the board of directors of some company, they would want to understand that you as an individual have the understanding of how to review a company, how to see if the company is making the right progress or not. Now, a lot of people never make it to level 7, but a lot of people do not have exposure of what it takes to go to level 4. Now, all these levels, you have a strong understanding of business, you have a strong understanding of people, you have a strong understanding of decision making as well. Strategy, policy, decision making, all these things are learned if you're operating on the right side. Now, for a lot of people here, especially those who are coming from humbler backgrounds, I'm sure you might be the first person in your family going into the second half. If you get there, and I'm sure the entire ecosystem would be proud of you if you get there, right? So in the deep thought ecosystem, the meta-Socratic dialogue training or any of these learning drills that we put you through is about making sure you guys get to the second half as quickly as possible. Now over here, I'm proud to introduce my colleagues, Shavan Mandal. Shavan, where are you? Can you say a hi?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. So Shavan is our Assistant Vice President Technology. Doesn't look like one, but he is, trust me. You go spend half an hour with him, you'll understand who he is if you talk to him on technology. And I think early in his leadership journey, he always told, I don't want to be your leader, I want to be your friend. Don't think he's soft. He roasts the hell out of his team when the deliverables are not obtained, but again, yet very accessible and available when somebody has a doubt and wants to discuss something. That's Shawan Mandal, 32 kilometers away from Vietnam, 24 hours away from Guwahati.
Myanmar.
Myanmar. Yeah, comes from a place called Margarita, safely away from all major cities of India. Shagun, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
This is Shagun Mishra from Varanasi, and in 1 week she'll be in Hyderabad. Yeah. So she is our Assistant Vice President, Data Infrastructure. She's played a key role in terms of setting up the way in which we collect the data today in Deep Thought, and she's was doing the project management for 58 software projects in Deep Thought. In most corporate companies, somebody with 5 years experience would struggle with 58 projects. And she did this with interns, not even freshers. College students would work 4 hours a day. She trained them to be able to code these projects of reasonable quality. So some of the tech you're using, if you don't like it, you can safely blame her. And you enjoy it, yeah, you can give the credit to her. Yeah, just joking, but yeah, she's done a great job in terms of getting interns and a lot of beginners to build these high quality projects. So in this ecosystem, we've seen some youngsters get there, and there are 2 more youngsters who are on their way to become AVPs in Deep Thought. Now, Balaji, I'm guessing, is not here now, but Balaji is now, leading some important initiatives for creative organics. He's helping the CEO in bringing technology and new kind of data-driven approaches it's a 45 crore company. Creative Organics is helping them there. Jhansi, who joined as an intern here, I think after her 6 months, she was promoted as a product lead, and the company has put her on a roadmap to become the chief product officer of the company in 2 years. Today, a lot of people go out there and desperately put LinkedIn statuses saying, I want a product manager job. I want a product manager job. There's a lot of potential there. The salaries are very high. How do I get a product manager job and so on? But Jhansi could directly make it as a product lead. And I think a large part of that has to do with her not being focused on one aspect alone, but understanding emotions, understanding project management, understanding people management, understanding business, and paying keen attention to a lot of these areas that Deep Thought has been, working on. So the opportunities are fantastic here because of a very supportive ecosystem, and the opportunities are fantastic because of the ideas that you're exposed to. But I would want to warn you guys something, I want to give you a very important warning. The warning is, if you're not careful, your school, college, or your friend circle can force you to be mediocre. At some point, Shagun was also told this, that your friends don't do this much. Why are you doing this much? Her father asked, are you a DM? DM ho kya itna kaam karte ho? Her father asked her, right? Are you a magistrate? You're working so much, her father asked. Then I told her, why don't you go and tell your father that, yeah, you're an AVP right now, assistant vice president, which is like a DM. And if you work hard a bit, you become a VP, which is like a collector. And you work a little harder, you become a CTO, which is like a, chief secretary. Sorry, I don't understand the legal terminology, so I gave more of the IAS terminology. But I said, why don't you tell your father that, yeah, you're doing something like a DM, you're making decisions for the company, you're deciding the future of the company. Isn't that a proud moment that, you can take a larger responsibility at a lot younger age, and, she's doing that. And look, the reason why I told you the story is, a lot of people might say, why are you doing this at a young age? But then it's 5 years later where people realize that because you've invested in yourself, you could do something which a lot of people wouldn't be doing at that age. So if you choose to be mediocre, we are not stopping you. But if you want the path of excellence, I think in this ecosystem, you're going to get a lot of opportunities in the form of LDI, in the form of asynchronous discussions on different rooms, in the form of meta-Socratic dialogue on Saturdays, and so on. So Career Progression Lab, Tushar and team are always very happy to tell you about the opportunities you have in Deep Thought to learn and grow. So I hope that you guys would use these opportunities meaningfully. Now, for all the observers, I'll tell you why we have this observation process. So observation process is like, one, you get to understand whether whatever we are saying is true. Is this meant for you? Because for some people, our way of working may not work out. So at the end of 3 days, Some people would be excited. Some people would get bored. If you're bored, that's okay. This doesn't suit you. Some other opportunity may suit you better. I mean, what I tell is, a lot of youngsters are taught to prove themselves. But I think one crucial thing I would want to tell all of you is never prove yourself. Try to create value. Don't try to prove yourself. Instead, try to create value. Because for one company may be interested in vanilla, you could be butterscotch. One company could be interested in chocolate, you could be maybe strawberry. There are flavors, right? So the observation process is intended at seeing whether you suit this ecosystem. When I say whether you suit this ecosystem, I don't mean to say, are you good, are you bad? But it is about saying that, hey, would you be able to do well in this ecosystem? That's why we did the observation process. And this observation process is going to inculcate a lot of habits which you'd want to continue even after your selection is done. Because in the observation process, you're keenly looking at different things. You're taught how to observe, which we're not taught in school or college. And you're taught how to be in a room, in a meeting, even though you understand only 5% of it. People are throwing a lot of jargon. You don't understand half of it is going as a bouncer. I'll tell you, when I was in my first year of college, our director, Professor K.N. Ganesh, told us something very powerful. He said, even if you guys understand only 5% of a lecture, go attend it. Later on, when you're reading about the topic, suddenly it makes sense to you. Suddenly you'll understand that, okay, this is what the dude was talking about. So you go into that session not because you understand, but you go into that session because you can build familiarity from that session. You don't go for understanding, you go for familiarity, because you get that exposure and familiarity over a period of time. You go way ahead of your peers. So in observation, you're learning how to be comfortable, even if a lot of jargon is thrown, and even if you're not understanding that, if you have some patience over a period of time, you'll understand that in Sanskrit, there's a word called Shraddha. Shraddha is a word which doesn't have a counterpart in other languages. No, Shraddha is not patience. Shraddha is not hard work. Shraddha means the belief that the universe is decodable. Shraddha is the belief that the universe is decodable. You would do research only if you believe that it can be understood. You'd solve a problem only if you believe the problem can be solved. If you don't believe that the problem is solvable, you'll give up. If I tell you have to jump from here to Pluto, you wouldn't even try because you don't believe it is possible. So Shraddha is the belief that you can understand things. So I think in the observation process, after, by the third day or the fourth day, people slowly understand that, okay, I can make sense of any shit these guys talk. I've got my tools, I've got my methods. So I think that practice is important even after you're hired. Because in innovation ecosystem, you'll always occupy on partial understanding, right? So that's an important habit to carry on even after observation. And you're going and talking to new people without any inhibitions. That again is important in innovation, because idea networking is important, right? That you have an idea, you network with another person and you build on that idea together. And at the end of the day, you're going back and writing a reflection. In your reflection, you're trying to write your feelings. You're trying to write your reasons, your feelings, and your thoughts and feelings both. You balance both your thoughts and feelings. And at the same time, you note down all the concepts that you've learned in the session. Now, a lot of us have selective attention, right? Even after being hired, it's important that we practice the journaling and reflection. At the end of the day, last 30 minutes, it's very important that you write down the new concepts you've learned during the day. Because generally we pay selective attention, right? We don't pay attention to the new concepts our project leads or somebody has taught us. But every day at the end of the day, last 30 minutes, if you can write down what are the new words you've learned, what are the new concepts you've learned, you can actually internalize that over a period of time. And in the observation process, we've taught you how to write the reasons carefully, right? Don't just listen to statements, but listen to reasons. Now, when you're taught in school and college, reasoning is not encouraged at all, right? You just take the judgments or conclusions. But in innovation environments, reasoning is super important. So when you pay attention to reasoning, what happens is, see, your conclusions are not reusable, but your reasons are reusable. The same approach of reasoning something can be used in a different situation. So I think that habit of reasoning is super important in the ecosystem. And that is why you guys have the rigor builder here in Deep Thought. You guys can start practicing on the rigor builder so that you can improve your, ability to reason things. So the reason why we make you go to different breakout rooms, explore different breakout rooms, and do this observation process is you hang out with us for 3 days and you inculcate all these habits, right? You unlearn all the bad habits which schools and colleges sort of teach. You spend 3 days and you inculcate these virtuous habits in yourself, and you have a launch pad. And almost anyone who's joined Deep Thought of the observation process would tell you that it doesn't feel like you're a beginner. It feels like you're in the company for almost 1 year. Am I right, Yosha? Shabarish?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you say that?
In the 1 week process, I was able to communicate with so many people. I started giving them solutions also while they were working on the project. And I started feeling myself as a part of the company and not just an observer.
I also remember in the video on writing good reflections, Sabrish mentioned something like, at DT we do this. He was already talking like that, like he has been working
Like an
here for a
employer,
long time.
like I'm already hired.
Yeah.
Yeah, as an observer, he was already saying at DT we do this. Yeah, that's what Yosha was saying. So this is why we have the process, and for all the old folks, I hope you continue the good habits that you learned. So I'll just tell you one thing. Did you guys earn your entry into the DT ecosystem? Did you earn your entry or you just got it easily?
Earned it.
Earned it.
पहले एक form भरो, पहले एक form भरो, and then उसके बाद there's an assignment, and in between watch 2 or 3 videos to understand what to do in that assignment. Then one video reflection. Then watch one video to understand why that video reflection. Then, come to observation, watch 2 videos to understand what is that observation. Do that observation, write a lot of reflections. Then after that, face one Sunky project manager who'll ask you so many questions. How do I believe that you're passionate? Arey, I did these many things. You still don't believe I'm passionate. You face all of that. And then finally you get hired. You've earned your entry, right? And how does it feel to be a part of an ecosystem where everyone has earned an entry? When I was in college, when I would come back home in the train, when people would ask for an ID card, right, the TT, I would not give my Aadhaar card. I would not give my driving license. I would give my ICER ID card, right, with the 3 lions on it. An autonomous institute of the MHRD government of India. There's a sense of pride of being in that institution because you have to, I had to study for IIT JEE for 5 years to finally get into ICER, to reject IIT Roorkee and go into ICER. And somebody would ask, which college are you studying in? I would say ICER, but not many would know ICER. I would say, I rejected IIT Roorkee and went there. They're like, oh, it's better than IIT. I said, yeah, it is better than IIT. That's why I went there. So, there's a sense of pride in terms of where you belong, right? So you all worked very hard to get into this ecosystem. That sense of belonging is a very fundamental need, right? Level 3 need of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I hope you guys leverage all of these to grow, right? You want to be on the left side or the right side?
Right.
Right side.
Right.
So are you going to learn like a follower or learn like a decision maker?
Decision maker.
Decision maker.
So all these learning drills that we have in deep thought, even the observers get to see the learning drills. So all the learning drills that we have in deep thought have one and only one agenda, which is to help you become a responsible decision maker. Not a greedy person who's making money, but a person who's using this understanding of business to impact many lives. And naturally, when you impact lives, you end up creating wealth along the way if you want to. So that level 5 leadership, as Jim Collins calls it, we're trying to encourage that in you, and that is why all these learning drills are. So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in, and I hope this session really helps you in making the most of the DT ecosystem. But as always, we'll follow the drill. We'll listen to 5 reflections before we close. Who wants to go in with a reflection? What are your takeaways from this session? Your thoughts and feelings and takeaways. Okay. Who else wants to go in? Snehil will go in first. 4 more hands. Who wants to go in? Okay, Amrit, Kundan. 2 more. Okay, Deepak. 1 more, 1 last seat. Who's going in? Okay, thank you, Bhavani. Yes, Snehil, please go ahead.
Sir, I believe DT must focus on the soft skill development, which is good because if you get to learn how to self-learn, it will automatically leads to be a part of any sort of environment, and you can actually learn how to work things out. And actually I have one question also. You were talking about rigor builder and all, so I want to know what it is and how to use it and how to make it best of it.
Okay, I think Kritika, Divyansh, and some of these people are eagerly waiting for Bakras to come and use their products. So they'll be more than happy to guide you on how to use the rigor builder. So Kritika is here. Would you want to say hi, Kritika? Yeah, and Divyansh is also here. Divyansh, would you want to say hi so that they can?
Hello. Hello.
So Snehil, you can catch up with Kritika and Divyansh after this meet. So the career progression lab, you can visit their breakout room. So they work on this problem statement. So they'll be very happy to guide you through the rigor builder. And Snail, it is a level deeper than soft skills. We focus on psychology, on social sciences, so you understand how various things have influences on you. So when you understand how various things have influences on you, you're more self-aware and you can you become.
So basically what yes, sir, continue.
Go ahead.
So basically what I want to say is, yeah, I also want to say that I just use the word soft skill, and I like my thought was that only that it focuses on psychological part. So like it helps us to learn more. Because if you like focus on your mental health and if you have a good environment, so it will help you to like grab something faster than a natural human being would grab it.
Snail, just so that there's no misunderstanding among people, it is not just about mental health, but it's also about mental models, which shape the way you think. It's also about various ways of learning. It's also about economics, to understand how wealth is created, because we may do great work, but if that work doesn't add to value, it doesn't count. Right? All of our in a company, you don't get paid for the effort you put, you get paid for the value you create, right? So in the corporate world, it's important to create value. So understanding business economics, all of this is also important. The CFO dialogue, Chief Financial Officer dialogue that we have for everyone is intended at making sure you guys understand value creation. Yeah, Amrit, please go ahead.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much. The thing I learned from this session is like, I was thinking like, the depth matters the most, right? But now I realize like breadth matters, right? And why it matters, because, whenever you are explaining some kind of task or and any kind of like, going into a kind of new field now, then here's the, like your different kind of fields comes and takes the place. And the second thing, so now, yeah, I will definitely focus more for like, will be focusing on the breadth. And second thing, you explained like, even if understand 5%, just go and attend it, right? Not because like you will get 5%, but you will understand, like you will get the idea, like, you will get the familiarity, right? So yeah, 2 pointers. I am like, yeah, that's my takeaway. Yeah, thank you so much.
This is the Amrit, this is the age to acquire breadth.
Yeah.
Depth can always be acquired with time, because later as you grow older, as you get focus, it's very difficult to acquire that breadth.
Yeah, actually, I was like, I had some kind of, like inner confusion, but now I cleared, right? I wanted depth first. Now I got the clarity. Like, yeah, in the young age, we can go for the breadth so that we can even find our best, best field or our like interest, and then later on we can like explore more fields. Yeah.
Thank you, Amrit. Yeah, over to you, Kundan.
Thank you, Tarun. Actually, what you said, the 5% wala thing, it actually held with me. Why? Because when I was in a BTech, I went Andhra Pradesh itself, where I am the single one who is in the North Indian. All the classes are local. I don't better Telugu classes is going on. So at that time I find myself very unfamiliar, but like this is the new language, how come I can manage? I try to like drop my engineering that time, but later on I decided let it be, and now I can say you that I can speak Hindi, English, Telugu as well. So that is a part of what you said. I believe in it. Why? Because when you are getting some word and familiarizing with it, then it will be in use after some time. You can use it and it will be connecting to you after some time. And the second thing what you said, like the stages of life, like you said 0 1 2 3 4 5, which is new to me. Like up to now, like I don't know what are the stages in the company, and how it what are the roles and responsibilities there. Although I invest in stock market, so the board part of thing I know, like we need to vote on support of, if we vote on that, then only the CEO and like board of meeting will CEO will decide what to do and whether we have to keep it that CEO or not. So these things is a great learning, and what you said, I connecting that thing, because I already gone through this.
Sure. Thank you, Kundan. Glad you connected these 2 points. Yeah, over to you, Deepak.
One of the takeaways that I have seen is to think beyond the managers, to think about the leader. There was an article I have read on Sunday through a newspaper, who's known as Salaf Warrior. He also has discussion with his friend, like why we can't question to a particular reason, why the person has discovered something and why can't we reason it, why can't we ask questions to it. So I also got to know is that questioning is our right to ask anything, no matter what is to discuss.
Thank you, Deepak. It's your right, and I hope you redeem it in full measure. Yeah. Over to you, Bhavani.
Hi, I'm Bhavani. In this session, I learned so many things from you, Tarun. What I basically learned means we need to be motivated and encourage ourselves to not being only in this position. We need to move on to the better position. From this, I learned from you. You shared so much advice from the so many persons. I like that. Before that, I'm a math graduate. I need to study for the data scientist. This is my first internship in Deep Thought. I felt bad for myself because I'm not that much of a English knowledge. But before come to Deep Thought, I was so scared. How can we came up from that? But in this session, I very motivated because Deep Thought give me so much knowledge about how we grow that positions and how we enhance our skills and no need to failure ourselves. Thank you.
Yeah, Bhavani. So the way we've designed our selection process at Deep Thought is, whether we select a person or reject a person, we would like to make sure every candidate gets value. So, which is why in every round as well, you see that every round of Deep Thought has value. Watch this video to understand why we've given you and so on. There's a video. I'm sure a lot of you would have skipped it, but yeah, we did communicate why each round is designed. I mean, our idea is if someone is investing time in the selection process, whether we hire or we don't hire, the person should get that exposure so that, you know, that because if youngsters are learning something new, that'll add on to the economy, that'll add on to nation building, right? So that's why we've designed this very carefully.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this.
Yeah, over to you, Puneet.
I learned from this session, like you have a selection process to observe a person to how he working in the environment for you. It is a very interesting. You take some time and observe the person, how he or she work, how he's thinking, and how he react when he give assignment to them. And DT is also create a value system, which is very good because in our society, our education system is not good enough to create new minds for innovation. And DT is going to make more and more thoughts and give the society which work. And I think DT is on a path to create more CEOs to take the right decision to their society and for them, obviously, to grow in their life.
Okay, for all of you, a little hack. Next time you see a person who's facing a little bit of challenges, you could just nod when the person talks. Like you see, I was trying to, do that, right? That encourages the person to talk a little more. And well done, Yosha. I think after Bhavani was done with the reflection, he just left in a small note in the chat, appreciating her. I think there are a lot of wonderful people like Yosha here in the ecosystem who appreciate folks, because I think when you celebrate for the other person or when you appreciate the other person, indirectly you're appreciating yourself. You're making yourself a softer and better person in the long term. And I mean, in turn, you'll become an amazing leader, right? So I think on a concluding note, that's what I would like to say, right? So can we measure ourselves in terms of how many people we encouraged and how many people we appreciated on a daily basis, right? And I think in the TOC slot, you get the opportunity to celebrate the work of your colleagues at the end of the day. So I hope you guys, on the DT learners group as well, let's celebrate others' thoughts. Let's celebrate others' ideas. Let's celebrate others' focus. I mean, see, you have two options with you. One option is to be jealous. That's what happens to almost everybody on LinkedIn, right? Somebody says, I got this job, I got this, and it's all jealousy on the platform. Mental health gets affected there. I have gone onto LinkedIn and said, stop showing this, and now my newsfeed is nice. I only get insightful content. I mean, it took me like 2-3 weeks to show LinkedIn what I want, and now I get a good feed. But yeah, I think we'd want to not have that jealousy mode where we're waiting for our achievement and feeling jealous of others' achievement, rather go into that celebration mode and appreciation mode, right? Okay, I don't know why his post showed up in my thing. Maybe because he tagged Deep Thought, but usually I don't get many. Okay, Yosha caught me there, but I usually don't.
No, I specifically tagged Arun, thanking him for this opportunity. I think that is why. Yeah.
Oh, you tagged.
Yeah, you wouldn't have got it otherwise.
Okay. Oh, for a moment, I thought Yosha caught me. Sir. Okay, Shabarish saved me. Okay. Okay, Yosha. Oh, you should have tagged. Oh, you put a post as well, is it? Okay. I didn't see. You see, I didn't get it. Yeah. Anyway, my point is this, right? Do we want to move in the jealousy mode where we hurt our mental health? Or do we move into that mode where we celebrate others' effort, where we celebrate others' ideas? Then we'll be happy every day and we're growing every day, right? Because when you celebrate the other person's idea, you end up imbibing that idea. That idea becomes yours. So I hope we can incorporate these and have a great day, everyone.